Hi folks, the purpose of this video is to give some of the reasons why I think it's a good idea to practice, even though it's an acoustic guitar, to practice it with amplification. Okay, you may say, well, I can hear it perfectly well unamplified when I'm at home, so why bother plugging it into anything, and let's just enjoy the acoustic tone, and I can practice perfectly happy without plugging it into an amp. That's very true, but there are reasons why I have come to the conclusion that it pays to even practice with amplification. The reason is that when you play out, however small the venue, you need amplification of one kind or another. I've got a soundboard transducer DIY thing that I fitted in here, and what you heard just then is my Yamaha 182 with a DIY transducer around here, feedback buster to cut out the mid-low frequencies which are bad for amplification, and it's through an electric guitar amplifier. Actually it's a Roland Cube, but the Roland Cube has a very, very good clean channel on it. That's what I'm using, with just a tiny touch of reverb. I don't like too much reverb, just a tiny bit. And this room that I'm in is very dead anyway. So, back to the reasons why. When you play amplified, you obviously get a slightly different sound, but you also find yourself having to adopt a different touch, a lighter touch. Now, if we can get away with a very, very light touch, that's all the better for our playing. When you're fighting to produce volume and to make yourself heard, as you would in an acoustic situation, it's not good. You need to be able to adopt a very light touch for fluent, fast playing, whatever. And that touch will be different when you're amplified than when you're playing acoustically. Acoustically, you are producing volume from the instrument itself, and you have to work to do that to some extent. Whereas amplified, the amplifier does the work for you. If you're not loud enough, well, you just crank it up a little bit. So the touch is different. Also, a major reason that I think it's a good idea to practice amplified is that when you hear your sound and your playing, your music, when you hear that coming from a speaker behind you, it's different from when you're hearing the acoustic instrument. And it's much more critical of your playing. Slightly dead notes, you know, fluffed notes, things like playing that's not quite so clean, in other words, coming through that speaker as though it's from a foreign source, will sound much more critical to your ear, and you will hear those mistakes and those dirty bits. You will hear them and take note of them, in other words, more than you do acoustically, whereas you kind of get away with it and can gloss over it. And it will kind of force you to play more cleanly, because you can hear every little nuance more clearly. You see, all the top players, you can see they are adopting a very, very light touch. I'm talking soloists. I mean, you get someone who's accompanying a singer in a bar, well, all they can do is thrash the guts out of the guitar just to try and make themselves heard. You know, not my scene at all. So don't think, if you're not experienced at doing gigs and playing in public, you could be fooled into thinking that, oh, my guitar sounds quite loud in my own kitchen, it'll be great. I'll go out and play in this, play wherever, you know. Well, I can tell you that your acoustic guitar may sound loud enough in isolation, but you go into a public situation where people are just going to talk just a little bit, someone even trying to open a packet of crisps will, I'm exaggerating a bit here, but it will rapidly drown out your guitar. You'll find yourself hitting it too hard, trying to produce volume, you play badly, it's not loud enough. So you need your amplification. So having established the fact, as far as I'm concerned, that when you play out, however small the value, you need a bit of amplification. Having established the fact that you need that, then practice with the amplification at home as well. It will improve your playing by making you listen more critically to what you're doing, and you will cultivate a very light touch, all to the good. It's a similar situation, the sound is in a similar situation to in a recording studio. You record something, you think you did a good job. You listen to the playback through the speakers, and any tiny little fluff, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And you think, oh, I didn't play that quite as well as I thought I did. I'll have to do another take. It has not as pronounced, but a similar effect when you hear it through an amplifier, as I said before. You will hear all the critical little fluffs and, you know, little things that are not quite so clean. So, again, it'll help you develop a very light touch because you let the amplifier produce the volume for you, and therefore you can have a light touch, will help you play more fluently. Also, you will hear every little thing that's not quite as clean as it should be, and it will help you tidy that up as well. So, for me, practicing with amplification exactly the same as if you were playing out, except with the volume turned down in your own kitchen, obviously, or your own studio, I think it's a good idea. Just think about it.